This episode is brought to you by Tabletop Dominion, purveyors of handmade dice and artisan gaming accessories. Why not head over to tabletopdominion.com and use the code BILLOW to enjoy 10% off your order? Who knows, maybe you will find your very own blue dice of power.
Hello and welcome to the Billowing Hilltop podcast. I'm here with everybody. Hello, everybody.
Hello,
Mike. Not really everybody. No Johnny, no Dan, but you know what I mean.
All the quality.
I'm here with Lucas and Graham and the tattered remnants of Paul.
You're here with the most important people.
The most important people. And we are here to say thank you for listening to us because we have finally reached episode 150, which is a bit of a milestone.
Who would have thought it?
Who would have thought it? A couple of people that listen to this make their own podcasts and... I'm sure they remember thinking that these kinds of numbers are just impossible when you get started. But anyway, there we are. Yes, so this is episode 150. Thanks for listening so far. I have absolutely no idea what this episode is about.
No.
It might be one with you, just you, Paul. I'm not sure yet.
Oh, you'll work
because
it
I
out.
don't know quite how they're all going to stick together.
What
but that's it.
Oh, no, that would be.
That would be interesting.
We have no other news or information. We love ratings and reviews, and you should email us. Just a single expletive
Yes.
in an email, and we will read it out because we get so little mail. And we're just so desperate. You can find us on Twitter at Billowing Hilltop because Paul chose the name without the P at the end. Because anyway,
No, it was too long.
Well, you could Billow Pod. Anyway, you can find us on Facebook and you can find us on Instagram. I don't know. I haven't got anything else to say really. It's just thanks for sticking with us. We're amazed that you are, all 8 of you. Anything else? Anything else to chip in, chaps?
No.
No, it's a miracle we're still here.
Well, that's it. So on that bombshell, we will push on with episode 150. I can't believe it. Of the Billowing Hilltop podcast. No, I have remembered which one it is. It is the one with just you, Paul.
Ah.
Very appropriately, it's a little bit short. Episode 150 of the Billowing Hilltop podcast. The bottle. Good lunchtime.
Good lunchtime to you.
Hello, readers. It's just me and Paul again.
Hello.
Picking up with Scaly, and it's lunchtime because we just had to find a point that we can record which doesn't interfere with the other game because the other players are more important, Paul.
No, that's fine.
Than you.
They are much more important.
They are more important.
In every way.
I'm trying to remember. Can you remember? You've just made a discovery, right?
Yes.
I think that's where we... Oh, of course, yes. How could I forget? Yes, you're in Okoral's, you presume, hotel room.
Yes.
In the Deluxury.
Yeah.
And you've gone there trying to find out more about him because he was rifling through your room at the Ogre's hideout. The others have gone to Even Start. You've gone to Okoral's. Well, you've gone to the Deluxury. You've checked into the Deluxury. Yes. You've got a room on the same floor as Okoral. You've broken into Okoral's room and you've found the signs that more than one person, has been living in a state of sort of animal
filth.
Yeah. For days, you'd have thought. I mean, if not longer. You've rifled through some stuff that was in there. There were a couple of backpacks. Let's not get into that in too much detail, but in one of the packs, you found a bottle that exactly resembles the bottle that you drank from in Ilthane's lair.
Yes. The
bottle that contained some kind of elixir or something that had bumped up your, I'm saying, constitution?
Yes, constitution.
Yes, okay. And you know that Parker and Burple also drank from bottles just like it.
Yeah.
And this bottle is empty. I don't know if I need to draw you a picture, but if Okoral had this bottle and has drunk from this bottle, and Okoral subsequently turned into something awful, like a sort of screaming undead pedal bin.
Yes.
Yeah. Then it looks like you're in a bit of... It looks like you found probably what happened to Okoral and potentially something might be happening to you.
We've drawn a thread from one thing to another and come up with, oh, fuck.
Yes, exactly. The others, we can talk about this because they don't know about this.
Blissfully unaware.
Well, they've had some... Well, I can't talk... But the other guys don't really know about this yet. They haven't obviously been following that thread. They've got no reason to understand that. So we'll have to leave the others to the others. Right.
And they are more important.
They're much more important. Much, much more important. And obviously they'll be fine.
Yes.
Because they're just so important.
It's important.
Whereas we run through new characters with you, so...
Well, it's a bit of fun, isn't it?
There'll be another one.
There'll be another.
Just take the next taxi off the rank.
I've already got a name for it.
Okay, so
I was upstairs in this hotel room,
yeah,
and then
what do you want to do? You're standing there holding this bottle.
Having just, you see, when you ended the last one, I was like, a million questions. We need to keep going, and you were like, no, we're going to stop. So the thing is having put 2 and 2 together and come up with oh fuck. The first thing that obviously is I'm going to be like, I need healing. I need this gone, because there's no way I can fulfill my oath if I'm a worm-infested, parasitically gone, screaming pedal bin.
Yes. Okay, so yeah.
Healing.
So we're saying you've worked... Yeah, I mean, there's an element of metagaming going on here, which is that because of the nature of the revelation of the bottle at the end of our last session, and the fact that it's been, how many weeks? A month since we played that session.
It's been a while.
You've had plenty of time to understand the ramifications, which we're just going to have to credit to Scaly having a flash of logic and inspiration.
It's been keeping me awake at night, to be honest.
Well, and you're taking it too seriously.
It's not. It's a serious thing. Although, with lesser importance than the others, but it's a serious thing. Let's just say... Let's
start the clock running.
Okay.
We have got to be relatively conscious of how much time passes for Scaly.
Episode of Countdown. Dun, 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 dun.
First of all, what do you want to do immediately
He's
now?
Going to go downstairs.
You've got a bottle in your hand.
He's got a bottle in his hand.
He's
going downstairs into the hotel, and he's going to go and ask about a healer to see if he can find
there's a slightly snooty person behind the desk.
He's find the nearest person.
And then there's Armhin. Okay, literally the nearest.
The nearest person who I think is intelligent enough to answer.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's a restaurant full of people, okay. Let's not
talking about. I'm talking about stuff.
Well, let's not get too into it.
So if Armhin is nearby,
yes, a healer. Okay.
So I go up to him. It's like, I need some assistance from you.
Oh,
sir. Yes,
assistance.
Yes, I need to find a reputable alchemist who can help me identify a potion. I'm just basically holding this empty bottle into his face, which means holding it down and quickly. Very quickly.
I'm not sure.
You get my meaning?
I'm not sure I do grasp Sir's meaning.
A healer.
No, recompense is necessary.
Yeah.
An alchemist now. Yes. What about Gulg's tinctures on the street of a dozen smiles? It's not too far to walk.
Is this man? Is he reputable? Is he discreet?
He's capable of discretion. He does have a certain reputation. The nature of his work requires a certain amount of... Sir, is everything okay with the room?
Yes.
You seem a little...
room's lovely. Thank you very much indeed. Thank you for the cigars. And directions to Gulgs, please?
He's on the street of a dozen smiles, sir.
Okay. I'm going to...
And he sort of points... I don't know. He wafts his hand outside as if he's the sort of person that has other people do other things for him, and he very, very rarely leaves the hotel.
Okay, I'm going to head over.
Okay, well, you can sort of find your way. Still snowing.
I'm basically walking through the streets holding this bottle in front. Just straight in front of me. Arms straight out in front of me. Marching.
Front of the bottle, then a bottle in front of me. Okay, yeah. Marching through the streets going, Gulg, where's Gulg?
Yeah, exactly. I need Gulg. Where's Gulg?
I'm in a hurry. Okay, well, let's just... it's not too far. Let's get the map of Frostanger up, just so I've got... to orient myself. God, it's ages since we've done all of this.
Been a while.
It's been a while. The Street of a Dozen Smiles runs between the arena and the Great Temple of Banshivu.
Ah.
It's in the northern part of town. It's not too difficult for you to find. You walk across Royal Island.
Yeah.
You draw some attention because on the Royal Island, the watchmen they're like the kind of posh police.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, you're not doing anything technically wrong.
No.
But they don't like boisterous behaviour, loudness, oddness, or anybody disturbing the peace. Having said that, it is, I believe, the morning of Ut, which is the day of rest, and it's snowy and the streets are pretty empty, despite the celebrations that are all building up for Zeech's gala.
Yeah.
So even though they look at you a little askance, you're okay. You can leave Royal Island through the main fortified gate, and then it's not far, and you can get to the Street of a Dozen Smiles and Gulg's shop.
Yes.
Which is closed because it's Ut.
Oh, arse.
Because it's
okay.
Ut.
He's closed.
I mean, you've been to other shops today and they weren't closed.
Yeah, no, that's an idea. I'm going to go back to where I was getting...
It's shuttered up. It's a small place. It's nothing like the other places you've been to with kind of heavy security or whatever. This is like a little apothecary's potion shop. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in which case, I'm going to go back to where I was having, I forgot what it's called, the tail ashtray made. And the
Iamandi.
Yeah, Iamandi's. Yes.
Iamandi's Wonders. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
well,
again, marching straight ahead, marching arms out front, holding this bottle.
Yes. Well, the two hobgoblins who are running security recognise you this time. No need to have a kind of dialogue with them. The giant iron door grinds open. The two gnomes that were there before, that were talking to you, the one that sort of does the talking and the one that is obviously the craftsman or the expert, are still sitting at that front desk. How nice to see you again, sir, and so soon.
Yes. I need to find Mr. Gulg of Gulg's Tinctures. It's urgent. Can you help? And I need a dagger made. That's urgent as well.
But Gulg?
Yes.
Oh, he'll be closed.
Yeah, I
he
know.
lives above his shop, though.
Oh.
What kind of dagger? He looks more interested in the question about the dagger.
I need a dagger that's able to be hidden away under my cloak and that bears the iconography of Beermat.
Oh, so a custom piece?
Yes, ceremonial, but sharp and functional.
Well, I think we could organise that for you. Bespoke piece. Shall we say 200 gold coins?
Yes.
Well, we'll need a few days, though, urgent or not.
Yes, I'll pick it up with the rest of the gear.
Oh, very well, very well.
Okay. I then, about turn,
oh, right,
with the tail up so I don't knock anything down. And then I'm just march out again.
See you.
I've gone.
Kind of slightly bemused. This guy.
I'm gone.
Oh, that's it. Yes, well, we won't keep you.
No, I head back to Gulgs. I want to try and find a way to get hold of it.
Well, I mean, we're back to where we were. So it's still as it was. The street is quiet. Gulg's Tinctures is the sign above the door. The shop all the shutters are closed.
This does remind me of a computer game. It really is.
Where you
have to do things
like
before
Zelda or something. We have to. Yeah.
Something before something else is available. Yeah. I throw a pebble at the upstairs shutters and bang on the door.
Well, you can kind of hear the sound of something moving around in there.
Yeah.
And then there's the sound of kind of latches, catches, and then the shutter swings open upstairs. And a voice says, "What in the name of Bunshiva is the matter? Who is it there? Can't you see we're closed?" I'm running out of voices, so just go with it.
You've reverted to Yorkshire. Base level Yorkshire.
Well, generic North one. And there's an aging, kind of wizened, widdly little man appears at the window, and he's not looking at you. Give me a perception check, or perception check. Give me a perception check.
Perception check, I get a 17.
You think, from the way that he is looking out into the street, that he's partially sighted at best.
Okay.
He's not looking at you. And you're standing, this giant, great, blue-green creature, against a snowy backdrop. And he's looking out the window. He's only about, 15 feet above you.
Yeah.
And he's just going, "Who is that? Who is that making that noise?"
All right. I need your help. It's urgent.
Oh, his head snaps round. And he sort of appears at you. You get the sense that he can now he's worked out that there's something there.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's urgent. I'll pay.
Oh, you can size. He disappears. The shutters close. You can kind of hear grumbling, muttering from inside. And then you can hear stomping. Right? And then the door opens at the side of the shop.
Yeah.
And his face, bony little face, darts out in the darkness. "Did you say pay?"
Yes.
And he kind of blinks at you. He can't really see you.
Oh, yeah, yes, and I push past him into the shop.
Oh, you can't. Watch out there. You got to be careful. There's lots of fragile.
Come inside. Give us a hand.
There's barely enough room to get past him. You've got dark vision.
Yeah, dark vision 6.
Okay, so because the whole shop is closed up and everything is dark, this looks like a person. This looks like he doesn't use sight.
Yeah.
It's congested, not chaos, but just it's chocker. There's jars of spices and powders, and there's mounds of stuff being mixed, and there's the smell of spices and herbs and chemicals, and there's like mummified, you think, bits of animals, and things in jars, like what is it in biology lessons? Formaldehyde? Probably not formaldehyde, but
sounds like my
they're jars
kitchen.
of things like eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
And he is fussing after you. Careful! Watch out for this. It's delicate. This is delicate equipment.
Well, all right. So look, Scaly's he's brusque, but he's not hostile or aggressive. He just wants to get things done. He's single-minded, and he's probably a bit worried about. Well, definitely a bit worried about what's going on. He's, as we know, he's 6'6", and he's a bit of a bull in a china shop, or a dragonborn in an alchemist shop. And so he's like, come on, come in, shut the door behind you. There's no time to waste. And, the tail is up vertical, so he's careful not to swing it around.
He looks bemused by this because he can't follow you. He's struggling to follow you.
Yeah.
In terms of where you're going and what you're doing. Like when you speak and then you move and then he loses you and he's looking in the wrong place the next time you speak. And he's like, you shut the door. Yes, okay. You hear him he shuffles off. And he's obviously done this like a zillion times. Yeah. And he just knows this is his territory. And he just, obviously by feel or by whatever, he locks up. And then he shuffles his way back into the room. He's lost you again. But where he's in his shop, you wouldn't know.
Yeah.
It's like the Donald Pleasance thing in Great Escape.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
He's clearly comfortable in his own space.
Yep.
Right, now don't break anything because you have to pay for it. What is so urgent that you have to wake me up on the one day off that I get a week?
Shut up.
Can't I get a single... An old man just wants a single day's rest.
Right.
I should be using an old voice, should I? Hello there. I can't do this. No, I'm not going to do that. Okay.
Moving into... what's that?
Yeah, we're not going to do it.
Yeah. No. Right. I will show him the bottle, push the bottle into his face and say, do you recognise this?
He doesn't... hold up. Let me make a dice roll. He's got a chance. No, he can't see the bottle. He starts reaching out. He kind of beckons. He puts both hands out and he kind of beckons you, gestures you to hand over what it is. But I can't see a thing. Hand it.
Okay.
Give it here. What is it?
All right. So I will hand over the bottle.
Okay, he drops it, smashes on the floor.
He
holds it. Light makes no difference to me. He's holding it. He's kind of cradling it and he's weighing it. And then he starts running his hands over its surface, which is quite distinctive because it's that kind of crystalline, multifaceted, heavy crystal glass kind of thing. And it's like, yes. And it's got filigree, like adamantine basket work, metalwork around it. And that he's interested in. His fingers are kind of tracing that round. Then he holds it, he starts sniffing at it.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, this is interesting.
If you can help me, I'll make sure you get gold. I'm going to light up a cigar.
No. He kind of is distracted by that from the bottle. And he peers sightlessly at you, and he actually seems relatively pleased. He's actually looking at you with some sort of admiration. That's a Count de Forester, is it not?
It is.
Oh, okay. Well, very lovely, but it does interfere with my nose, so it's probably best saved for later.
Well, if you can help me, I'll make sure you get a whole box of them and some gold.
Well, that's all very well, and thank you very much. But first of all, can you put that out, because I can't spell anything?
Put it out on my arm.
What?
No, on a table. I'm going to put it out on a table. Whatever's closest.
He sort of grimaces, but not,
Yeah.
Now then. And he has another kind of sniff at there is a residue. This is, looks at you sharply, like he could see you. Blinks at you, he says, This is eldritch. This is...
What?
This is not good.
Now you're telling me.
How did you come by this? Where did you get it from?
I'm going to ignore that. I'm just going to... Can you figure out what it is? I need an antidote. I found it somewhere hidden, but it's...
You drank this?
But it's not important.
He kind of steps away from you a little bit. You've consumed this?
Can you help me find an antidote? I mean, I'm asking for a friend. It's not for me.
Oh, okay. He kind of relaxes a little.
Let's just say it's in your interest to help. Well, it's actually in everybody's interest to help.
Whoever's consumed this is in deep, deep trouble. There may be a way to formulate some kind of curative, some kind of treatment. I couldn't make it. This isn't my work. He holds it up. He kind of pushes it at you, like he's done with it.
Okay.
And he doesn't want it anymore.
All right.
This isn't natural. This is unnatural. You need to find the maker. You need to find the original maker. That's the only way. The basket work. This basket work. It's distinctive. Maybe Arthur. No.
Arthur? Who's Arthur?
The thing is, business has been so slow recently, I have to say. My memory isn't quite what it was.
Oh, I see. How much?
What?
Don't be greedy. All right, I want to roll an intimidate check.
Yes.
Get a 16. I want him to feel force of conviction. Again, it's not about violence, it's just force of conviction.
Or just a few gold would compensate
10.
me for disturbing my morning.
10 gold and another 100 when the antidote is successfully administered.
Oh, no, now you're talking. Well, Arthur, I do recall now. I do recall now that my financial worries have been eased somewhat. Arthur, number plate.
Number plate. Love it.
He works at Mandy's Wonders. Do you know it?
Oh, for God's sake.
He's a gnome. He's an expert with metalwork. He might know who made this. And he kind of, again, he's still brandishing this thing at you. You're getting the sense he wants you to take it off him.
All right. Thank you. I shall be back. I take it off him.
Yeah. Yes.
Hand over 10 gold pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Lift my tail up vertically. About turn. March out.
Well, he calls after you. Be careful now, and I wouldn't hang about if you take my meaning.
I'm not. Bye.
And you hear the sound of the door being bolted, like triple bolted behind you.
It's like one of those cartoons or things where you just got me facing the other direction, marching exactly the other way.
Yes.
Bottle held out in front of me.
Yes, back to Earmandy's. Hobgoblins exchange a look this time, like, again, the door rides
I'm here
open
to see Arthur,
the third
number
time
plate.
Today. The gnomes look up. Sir, how delightful. How comfortingly familiar to see, sir, for the third time today.
Can you tell me about this? I need to find an antidote, and I just hold it up to his face.
Well, not me, but maybe Arthur might know something about Arthur. Arthur is the one with the giant lens.
Okay. Oh, God. I go over to him, I hold it up to his face.
Well, his eye is just enormous.
Yeah.
And he sort of peers at it, and he looks up at you, and his giant eye regards you, magnified eye. Then he looks back at this thing, and then he looks up at you again, and he says, I know this work.
Yes.
This is not local work. This is even start work. Highest quality. Where did you get this?
That's not important. Can you help me get an antidote?
An antidote? Something where have you drunk from this? He kind of beckons you to hand it to him rather than just to hold it up in front of him. He sniffs at it, and he also kind of wrinkles his nose. He doesn't react like Gould reacted. It's obviously not his field. But he wrinkles his nose and goes, an antidote for what, sir? This doesn't smell very good, though.
I don't know exactly. That's why I've come to you.
Okay.
I'm going to roll and intimidate on 15. And again, this is not about threat of violence.
I don't know that really...
Persuasion.
Well, they look at each other. Arthur number plate looks back up at you. He takes the eyepiece out, addresses you, Nomo Draco.
Yes.
It's not my craft. I'm a metalwright, not an apothecary. I can tell you one thing, Mr. O'Toole. Whatever the contents, and I'm not qualified to comment on that, the bottle itself was most likely brought in by the Red Blades. Do you know them? They're on the corner of the way of the Queen Marshal and Horde Street. Merchant house.
Thank you. Right then. I look forward to seeing you when I come pick up my items. I take the bottle off him.
Oh.
I about turn without knocking anything over.
Oh.
And I head off.
Well, you can't see them, but they exchange another glance as you leave. They're just bemused. They don't like visitors, he calls after you. And then you could hear the iron door close behind you.
Okay. He's off.
Heading, following
stop.
way of the Queen Marshal in the corner of the Queen Marshal and Horde Street. Okay. Well, there is a building there. Right on the corner, there's a 3-story, squat, square building.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a house of someone prosperous, but it looks a little fortified, like it might contain items of value.
Yeah.
And it looks a little corporate, and it looks pretty buttoned up. There's nobody about. There's a crest. This is the giveaway, mounted above the door, featuring a pair of crossed red scimitars.
Okay.
As you're standing there looking at I don't know, how close you're getting, but as you're standing there looking at this building, the snow intensifies. It's really starting to drift into corners, into spaces. The streets are now just completely empty. The weather is definitely closing. If anything, it's getting worse.
Okay. Is there, there's a main entrance?
Yes, with the crest above it, yeah.
But is there somewhere I can hide and still see what happens without it being obvious, like a stakeout?
Not a building that you could use. You're in a sort of relatively high status residential district.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be trying to get into somebody else's house.
Mm.
There is a narrow, this building sits on the corner of the two main thoroughfares. Well, the square is completed by a little alley. I mean, a very little alley, like a runnel that runs and joins up to make round the back of the building. I mean, there is in shadow. I mean, with your dark vision, you can see it's all monochrome.
All right. Well, I've got that vision. So I'm going to take a walk down the narrow alley.
Well, it's all in monochrome. It's dark. I mean, even though it's, I don't know where we are by now. Late morning, lunchtime. In this weather and in this level of shadow, it's dark. You need your dark vision. You pad into the alley. You haven't gone very far, Scaly, when you hear a voice from behind you. It's a familiar voice that says, "I'm not sure this is the wisest thing for you to be doing." Assuming your head whips around or whatever. There's nobody there. It's just a voice, a disembodied voice. You recognise it, though. I don't think you need to make a roll. It's the voice of the woman that came to see you at the ogre's hideout earlier, who called herself Bondi and was asking about the others.
Okay.
Try and follow my footsteps in the snow, and you can make out with your dark vision footprints start to appear and head back out of the alley into the main street. Come on, I won't hurt you. Marcus, at least, seems to think we can trust you.
Finally. Yes, of course.
You've heard of Marcus, I suppose, from the others? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you following?
Yes.
They lead you away. They go down Horde Street, through the gate, back onto Royal Island. We were talking about you crossing before. Across the island over the Forest Bridge. Forest Bridge leads from the Royal Island to the other island. As you pass the headquarters of the Watchman, the City Watch, the voice says, "While you've been shopping, I have been busy. In there," you presume that she's talking about headquarters. It's gratifying how much you can get out of the rank and file with a little cash and some persuasion. The key is to avoid the higher-ups. You go through the main market square, which is busier. And I say busy, it's just sort of desultory little gaggle of people. A couple of stalls set up, a couple of braziers, people selling food, drink and whatever. It's sort of rather half-hearted Zeech-based celebrations. There are new bodies swinging from the gallows in that main square.
Nice.
The voice, Bondi's voice, continues. Somebody else has been asking questions this morning where I was asking questions. Questions about your unwanted hotel guest.
Mm-hmm.
That person was a hired sword for the Red Blades. There's something about that lot. There is more going on there than meets the eye, and that is for certain. Anyway, well, I spent a bit of money there too. Found somebody who was willing to give us a little bit of information. I'll tell you about it in a minute. And then the footsteps divert from the tollway, from the main road, start making their way down the incline that leads to the water. And immediately it's completely quiet. There's nobody about. There are some old, abandoned jetties, kind of half-hulk boats, tied up to them, frozen in place.
Yeah.
As you follow the footsteps, they take a right and they lead you under the bridge. So you're going into the shadows.
Okay.
Into that kind of angle. There's an ancient troll hunched up in that angle between the bridge and the escarpment. It looks a bit like a pile of rocks and snow, but it stirs as you follow the footsteps towards it and just kind of has a quick kind of look at you and then returns to sleep. As soon as you're completely in the shadow of the bridge, Bondi appears.
She was invisible.
She was just invisible.
I mean, pointlessly, because she was walking in front of a hulk of not stealthy person.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to be seen
at all. Yeah, I suppose so.
She takes something out of her cloak. It's a little object. You're not quite sure what it is. It's like a little object, like a little spindle.
Yes.
Or something. She holds it up and she mutters something under her breath, and immediately you can see a light start to grow in the water, like out under the bridge, where the ice is thinning, and then eventually something surfaces, Scaly. Something you've not seen before, like a sort of
very, very,
thing,
very James
like
Bond.
A kind of it's a bit, it's a bit James Bondy, all very Bondy. It's some sort of craft. It's some sort of sub-aquatic craft.
Yeah,
it's big. There's a periscope. There's a conning tower, kind of with rivets and little portholes in it. And then there's a deck with grating across the top of it.
Yes.
Bondi's like, well, I hope Marcus is right about you. And she hops from the shore onto the first bit of deck planking, starts making her way towards the conning tower and kind of beckons you to follow.
Okay. Yes, I follow. I think I'm going to light a cigar up first, but I'm going to follow.
Well, she climbs up a ladder. She goes into the conning tower, down through a hatch, down an iron ladder.
Yeah.
And into this thing.
Okay.
There's a weird interior. There is a seat which looks like there are a series of seats or stations that look like various people would use, you presume, to control this thing. You don't know. There are magical devices. There are orbs towards the front. There's a window at the front that's looking out into the darkness of the lake.
Yeah.
There are mechanisms and levers, and there's pipe work, and you can hear the hiss of gases. You can feel a kind of low, rumbling, subsonic hum come up through your feet.
Mm-hmm.
She leads you away from all of this. She leads you aft into an area that looks like it's a bit more to do with mechanics and engines and whatever machinery. And she presses a stud on the bulkhead. It looks like a rivet, but it's obviously like a secret little what's it, and a hatch hisses open. She leads you down. She beckons you to follow, and you descend into another strange chamber. The floor is a grating, like on the deck, and you can see the curvature of the keel. So you're obviously in the lower part of this thing.
Yes.
Everything's dark, apart from a greenish light that's coming from a cylinder, like a large glass cylinder forward. So what do you say? Towards the prow, at the front, right?
Forward.
And there is another person there, a woman, wearing a white gown, quite a utilitarian white gown, kind of like with pens in the pocket, holding a clipboard.
Yes.
She nods at you, doesn't say anything, as you clamber down into this place. And she sort of goes back to studying. She's looking at little mechanisms, things with little multicolored lights on that are blinking, little witch lights or magical something.
Yeah.
Bondi says, "This is Eligos." And the other figure kind of nods at you again, but we just call her El.
Oh, really?
Oh, cut me a break.
You've been waiting ages.
Cut me
to
a
do
break.
that.
Bondi turns to Eligos and she says, "I got stuff." And she shows Eligos. Looks like she's taken a little perfume bottle or atomizer out of her pocket. She kind of holds it up. She says, "I think this will do." And she puts it back in her pocket. "And I also got this." She holds up a piece of paper. She passes across to Eligos, and Eligos kind of unfolds it, looks at it. Her eyebrows, kind of raises her eyebrows and goes, folds it back and gives it back to Bondi. Bondi puts it back in her pocket. She says to Eligos, and sort of to you, but she's been saying this to you quite a lot, "It's amazing what a bit of money will get you." This cylinder,
Yes.
there's something in it. It's bulbous. It's grub-like. It's
Green.
Yes.
The word.
You know what it looks like? It looks like the thing that was in Okoral, but somehow
smaller.
knitted back together.
Okay.
So it's kind of got a stream of tendrils, fibres, running
So
out
these
of
are
it.
hardy little bastards, aren't they?
Yeah,
They
yes.
can
You get the sense
regenerate.
that, you can see scars. You can see that there are scars in it, and you can almost see them healing before your very eyes.
Oh,
New
wonderful.
tissue. So you think this thing must be the one that was chopped out of Okoral, or rather, was almost diced as a result of you, right?
So wait a minute. If the other guys were here,
Yes.
Johnny would say, "We're doomed."
We're doomed. We're
And
doomed.
Dan would go,
Nah.
"Oh, great."
Let's attack. No, well, let's attack it. Like the tendrils off a jellyfish. So there's
Yes.
like a kind of green, grub-like, worm-like body,
Nice.
main bit, and then all of these filaments that lead off it that look like they might plug into you in various places,
Yes.
where you to be so unfortunate as to swallow one.
Yes. No. I absolutely get that. Thank you so much. It's busily attaching all those bits to me right now.
Possibly. Bondi looks at you, looks at it, she goes, "They're hardy little fuckers." And actually, just her speaking near it, the thing kind of twitches, kind of jerks towards the glass. And
It's like something like Alien, isn't
she
it?
can't help herself, her head kind of whips back. "We took the remnants of this out of him." And she gestures into the shadows aft, and you can see with your dark vision, you can see Okoral's corpse, basically chopped up like you left it.
Yeah.
Just an absolute mess, lying on a slab. She looks back at you and she points back, and then it's basically, since we took it back out and we put it in there, it's been putting itself back together. The risk of repeating myself, it's amazing what you can get hold of when you spend a little bit of money. And it took quite a lot of money to get hold of these two. Now, your turn. Put that thing out, by the way. The smoke messes with the scrubbers.
All right. I'll stub the cigar out onto his scaled forearm and puts
Ouch.
the remains into its little box.
1 point of damage. She says,
He's got.
"Why were you hanging around the Red Blades? You took a room at the
Well-
Deluxury, didn't you? What did you find out there?"
Well, this is what I found in Okoral's room, and yeah, it's the same bottle as what I drank. and that's why I was at the Red Blades. They are the ones who brought it to this god-awful place. The brother of that hardy little fucker is now inside me. Can you help me get rid of it?
They don't react particularly well to this news. They both take one step back, a little clang on the deck grating. The woman that Bondi's introduced as Eligos says, "When did you drink that?"
Day before yesterday?
Well, I don't think that's particularly good news.
No.
I haven't had long to look at this thing, and I haven't got access to my library. But I don't think there's a way to get these things out of you without killing the host. I mean, that's my first thought. I mean, there might be another answer, and there might be a way to get some kind of, I don't know, some kind of curative. I'm not. I mean, it's just too early. There might be
relatively new character.
If we kill the host, we're thinking. She looks at Bondi, kind of darts a look at Bondi, and then darts a look at you, and you get this moment where give me an insight check.
Oh, I think that'll be a 15. Let me
Yes.
just double check.
They exchange a look, a Scaly, that's along the lines of, which one of us is going to have to grab him if we have to do that? She says, it might, if we kill the host, it might cause these things to shuck themselves free. I mean, to detach. We don't know. What bothers me is that if there's more of whatever it is that you drank in your system when we brought you back to life, because that would be the plan, obviously, and they both kind of laugh nervously, then maybe it just resets things and it all starts again.
Yes.
But whoever created this stuff might know a way.
Yes.
The answer might be with the Red Blades, and Bondi says almost certainly with the Red Blades.
Yeah.
There might be something at Truespire in Marcus's library. In any case, the best thing for us to do is put you under. It's not a disease, it's not a curse. If we put you under and we take you to Truespire, we get access to the library. Maybe we slow down the progression, and maybe Marcus can help us. Maybe Marcus can help shed some light on this. That's what we need to do. And I think we need to kind of do it absolutely as soon as possible.
Okay, we'll do this. We'll leave in 1 hour. I have things to do first.
An hour. If it really is an hour, we're off in an hour, and if you're not back in an hour, you're on your own.
Okay.
Says Bondi. And Eligos looks doubtful about whether or not this is a great idea.
All right. I turn around. I'm going out on deck, relighting my cigar. I'm going back to Imandi's.
Yes.
I'm going to explain that I might be delayed a bit in
The
picking up
fourth
my
time
items.
today?
Yep. But I'm going to pay the full balance.
Don't know what it is to see you yet again. Now they look extremely wary of you.
I'm going to pay the full balance of what I owe them.
Okay, that modifies that. Catches them up a bit.
I'll give them a bit of a top up just to get them to hold the stuff.
Where are you getting all this money from, Paul?
Do you know what?
What?
It was something to do with the setup of the character. I seriously cannot remember.
Okay, well,
genuinely, I've been waiting for the guys to ask me. I can't remember.
Well, okay,
it was something to.
You haven't pressed the
startup
I haven't pressed the wrong button again. Every time you have a new character, you get something wrong. If you've been spending anyway, okay. Well, let's not get into it now.
I've spent. I tell you what, I've figured out what I've spent so far. It's under £1,000.
Okay.
And there was
Well, that sounds quite reasonable. It's come up because the others have been listening to our first little.
I'm sure they're all
session.
But if you think about it, he was a 13th level startup.
Yeah.
So there is something in the startup cash, which is reasonable.
Okay, you've said my
just
nerves.
because, it's not. I haven't got millions and millions endless, but I'm just like focused. I've got this money. This is what I'm going to use it on.
That's it then. So you pay up, you give them a bit of a bonus, and you head back.
Yeah, exactly. Put the cigar out before I go on board and head back.
You're back. They're obviously surfaced or whatever, or they've been just sitting there all this time, and they're all ready to go. So when you board again, the rumbling under your feet is orders of magnitude stronger, louder. You got the sense that engines or whatever kind of arcane machinery they've got that makes this thing work is all spinning up, and things are hissing, and there's sort of clunks. As soon as you're on board, Bondi seems to be busying herself around departure.
Yes.
She clambers up, closes the hatch behind you that you used. There's lots of sort of turning of those metal wheel things to seal stuff. Yeah, you can see that I'm an expert in this field.
Yes, and you're using the right names.
Yeah, the metal wheels, and you can sort of start to feel the sense of just motion, just kind of communicated to you through this weird machine, and you feel like you're descending very slowly. And I think Eligos says, come this way and they've set up a gurney, basically like a wheelie hospital bed thing, on the main deck. Elagos is like, we think you're going to be okay. I think you're going to be okay. I know you're going to be okay, but you're going to have to drink this. She hands you kind of heavy ceramic beaker.
Yeah.
It's warm. There's some kind of warm, milky fluid in it that smells of vanilla and sleep. She says, drink this.
Well, just right now, I'd just like to point out just a bit more kind of, let's look at Scaly, how he's feeling right now, in that Scaly is a land-born creature who's happiest sleeping in trees under the stars.
Yes.
And he's now in a tin can.
Yes.
Claustrophobic. I don't think he's got very good sea legs. I think he gets seasick very easily. And so I think this is almost a blessed...
Yeah, it's almost a blessing.
Blessed relief. He grabs it. And he's like,
also, it's
thank you.
How long has this taken? It's taken all in since you made your nasty discovery. Let's say it's taken you a couple of hours, something like that.
Yes.
It's been pretty nasty for Scaly, because out of nowhere, suddenly he realises that something dreadfully awful is on. And then what seems to be his salvation is just these random people who sort of seem to know who he is.
Yeah.
And sort of seem to know the people that he was hanging around who he doesn't know. And of course, yesterday was 16 years ago, or the day before yesterday, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So it's just an extraordinary experience. The last thing he remembers is climbing down a ladder. 16 years later, he awakes from nothing with these people. And he hangs out with them for a bit, and everything just seems to be awful from the very first moment that he meets them. And then he finds himself 48 hours later being knocked out on a weird underwater machine.
Yeah, and it's just he's in a tin can and he gets seasick. Please, this thing that smells of vanilla and sleep. Yes, please.
She settles you back. She sits you, guides you to sit on the gurney, and then she sort of helps you as you ease yourself onto it and lie back. There are little restraints built into this gurney, like little kind of belt things. As you lie back, you can feel a warm, sleepy state flow through you. The last thing you remember, Scaly, is that deep, reassuring thrum of the engines as you dream of sinking and sinking softly into the deep. And we'll find out what happens to Scaly. Is some kind of cure possible? Can you really trust Bondi and Neligos?
Well, better.
When we pick things up, whenever
it may not be next week.
Wherever the road leads us, because I'm not quite sure what's happening with all of this. But when we pick things up again. So
we'll figure it out. Very nice.
The Billowing Hilltop podcast is a Billowing Hilltop production. Dungeons & Dragons is a trademark of Wizards of the Coast. The Prince of Red Hand and Age of Worms are copyright Paizo. The Prince of Red Hand was written by Richard Pett. Music is from Kevin MacLeod and Incompetech.com and is used with thanks under the Creative Commons license. Additional music and sound effects come from the wonderful Sirenscape. All other original material is copyright Billowing Hilltop. Role-playing games are all about getting people together, and we use Roll20 as our tabletop, the perfect place to host your game, and Discord to host our chat. Thanks for listening.
Hey cool people, do you like mead, magic, and long walks in the icy tundra? Ever wonder what your sled dogs are thinking about? Why not cap off your night with a frosty tabletop adventure?
You're my mum. You made me out of meat. Meat, mother.
What have I done?
Did your grandma die in a lake? I'm sorry, I have to ask.
But it's actually because I bought some boxer shorts from Targets recently, and they forgot to remove the security clip!
In bust we must.
In bust we must, indeed.
Onward. Excuse me, young man.
Careful, I've got a cut bum. Wait, do you have a missing ring finger?
No, I got yours now.
That makes sense.
No.
Fuck this, I'm having a Kingston. I'm getting all sweaty and I need a Kingston.
She is desperate to keep her realm, and she will fight any that would take that away.
Well, grab your Ugg boots and join Reflex Save every Wednesday on your favorite podcast platform.